The movie opens with a flashback set 40 years in the past, taking us to the city of Los Angeles. About 50 kilometers outside the city, there was a hotel. One night, a young girl named Charlie was traveling with her parents. She told them it was getting really late and suggested they spend the night at a hotel. Her father, however, didn't seem too interested in her suggestion. As they continued driving, Charlie noticed a well-known hotel called the Johnny Monkey. This hotel had gained popularity in the area because of its collection of monkey-themed toys. Charlie was persistent about staying there, and eventually, her dad gave in. They pulled over, and he walked into the reception area where he politely spoke with the hotel owner. The owner welcomed them warmly and gave Charlie a monkey toy, mentioning that lots of children visit the hotel and they love taking photos of them. He then called out to his wife to come take a photo of Charlie with the toy. She took the picture, but both the owner and his wife had strange, unsettling expressions on their faces, like they were hiding something. The owner told Charlie she could keep the toy, but her dad felt uneasy about the whole thing. Still, he brushed it off. They were given room number 4. Once they left the reception, the hotel owner took Charlie's picture and showed it to someone, saying, "Your new friend has arrived." That night, while her parents were asleep, Charlie, frightened, hid under the bed with her new monkey toy. Suddenly, a giant monkey creature entered the room. It gruesomely killed her parents right in front of her eyes, then reached under the bed and dragged her out. The story then shifts to the year 2025, exactly 40 years later. Now we follow Jenny and Marshall, who are on their way to visit their grandparents' home. Neither of them is particularly excited about seeing the family. Marshall tries to lighten the mood by saying it's a family vacation, even though it meant getting up at 6 a.m. Jenny, clearly annoyed, doesn't have high hopes for how the trip will go. As they're driving, they stop in front of the now abandoned Jolly Monkey Hotel. Jenny remarks that it used to be such a nice place, and she has no idea why it ever shut down. Marshall becomes curious and starts looking around the exterior of the hotel. Meanwhile, Jenny heads to their grandparents' house, which is old and falling apart. When she steps inside, she suddenly screams. Marshall rushes in, only to find out Jenny was scared of a huge spider. He laughs and teases her for being scared, despite being so grown up. Then they both notice the basement door, which was locked. Jenny points out that the lock has never been broken, so who knows what might be hidden down there. Afterward, they explore the shelves in the house, where they find a collection of very old boxes. Jenny comments that their grandpa had carefully preserved all of his belongings. While sorting through the items, Jenny is startled when she finds a creepy-looking monkey toy. Marshall, trying to mess with her, shows it to her to scare her. Upset, Jenny storms downstairs. At that moment, Aunt Linda arrives with her husband Joey and their son Greg. Jenny greets them, and just then Marshall pops up with the same monkey toy, trying to scare everyone again. This irritates Linda, who clearly doesn't appreciate the joke. Seeing Linda get upset, Jenny and Marshall head outside to the car to calm the situation. Soon their parents, Deborah and Steve, arrive as well. It's clear the families haven't seen each other in a long time. The brothers had grown distant due to work commitments. Deborah immediately brings up Linda. "If she says anything out of line, I won't let it slide," she warns. Deborah and Linda are sisters, but their relationship has always been rocky. Sensing the tension, Marshall reminds everyone, "This is supposed to be a vacation. Let's make it one to remember, and definitely not spend it fighting." In the next scene, everyone is gathered, discussing what to do with the old house and the abandoned hotel. They eventually agree they should sell both properties. But Deborah speaks up, saying she plans to sell her clinic and reopen the hotel. She doesn't want their father's legacy to be forgotten. Linda disagrees, arguing that no matter how well Deborah's clinic is doing, it's unrealistic to believe someone could revive the hotel. Marshall and Jenny also chime in, saying restarting the hotel would be a mistake. No one would want to stay there. At that point, Greg says he'll call Clint and have the property sold within a week. Joey seems to be tagging along with him, but Steven sides with Deborah, explaining that the house holds too many happy childhood memories for him to just sell it off. Linda tells Joey they're out of drinks and asks him to go get more. Joey heads to his car, but as he approaches, he hears a strange sound. Then, loud thumping noises begin coming from the trunk. When Joey goes to check it, he finds the same monkey toy inside. Assuming it's another one of Marshall's pranks, he turns around, only to come face to face with someone in a monkey costume who stabs him and locks his body in the trunk. Meanwhile, Marshall and Jenny are at the hotel, looking at old photos of children with monkey toys. Marshall comments that Grandma never took pictures of them like that. Then Jenny notices the name Charlie on one of the photos. They find a diary, but it's empty. Just then, Deborah shows up and tells them to help clean the shelves. She also mentions she's changed her mind. She's now willing to sell the hotel. Jenny is thrilled to hear that. Later, the family is cleaning the shelves together. Jenny comes across some old newspapers that report multiple families have gone missing in the area. She asks Deborah about it, but Deborah claims she doesn't know much. The police had come several times but were never able to figure out what happened to those families. Deborah then brushes it off and turns to Marshall, asking if he got fired from his job. Surprised, Marshall asks how she knows. Deborah and Steve reassure him, saying that no matter what, they're always there for him because they're family. Deborah then tells them she has to run some errands and orders them to finish the cleaning before she gets back. Jenny, meanwhile, secretly finds a missing persons report about Charlie's family and hides it in her pocket. Elsewhere, Linda is talking with Greg, who asks if she's doing okay. Linda confesses she didn't want to come here. She's terrified of this house. Greg asks what's so special about it. Linda explains that as a child, she saw something strange in the basement. Her dad told her it was a bear, but she never believed it, and ever since then, no one's dared go down there. Greg insists they need to check the basement, especially if a potential buyer wants to inspect the whole property. He tells her to get the basement keys. Outside, the monkey creature is lurking and has overheard their conversation. Later, Greg is in his room, talking to Clint on the phone when he hears a noise. As he glances at the monkey toy, the giant monkey suddenly appears behind him, attacks, and gruesomely rips the skin off his face. No one else hears anything. Meanwhile, Deborah approaches Linda, asking why she wants to sell the house. Linda replies that although Deborah may have fond memories here, the house itself holds nothing now. Deborah insists she wants to carry on their father's legacy. Linda counters that the past is gone, and it's time to think about the future. She then asks Deborah if she knows where the basement key is, but Deborah admits she doesn't. Back in the house, Jenny hears the monkey sounds again and becomes extremely agitated. Marshall tries to find her, but she's nowhere to be seen. Jenny eventually finds a tunnel leading to the basement. Steve sees her and warns her to stay away, so she decides to ignore it for now. As Marshall continues searching, he picks something up, which triggers a loud noise throughout the house, frightening everyone. Meanwhile, Linda, holding a glass, declares she's going to find out once and for all what's in the basement. She exits the bathroom and notices blood outside Greg's room. When she opens the door, she's horrified to find Greg's mutilated body. She screams in terror, but before she can do anything, the monkey creature appears and kills her the same way. Back by the shelves, Steve tells Marshall to put away the monkey toy. Marshall does as he's told, and things momentarily calm down. Jenny looks at the toy and is shocked to see Charlie's name written on it. Just then, Deborah's scream echoes from downstairs, and everyone realizes that the shelf door is wide open. They rush down and are horrified to find Linda's lifeless body. Deborah breaks down in tears. After all, Linda was her sister. Through sobs, she says she can't stay in the house another moment. Steve warns everyone that there's a killer around and they need to get out of there. He begins searching for Deborah, but no one knows where she went. Steve then tells Marshall to check the shelf and instructs Jenny to go wait in the car. When Marshall reaches the shelf, he notices blood, but then suddenly a monkey appears. Startled, Marshall panics, and the monkey manages to hang him. Just then, Steve arrives, and the monkey flees. Meanwhile, Jenny is at the car, trying to start it, but it won't start. The oil tanks have been slashed. It's clear they won't be able to drive out of there. Jenny quickly heads back, while Steve helps get Marshall down. They decide to call the police, but no one has a phone. Jenny heads into the room next to the basement to look for something, and while searching, she finds a diary listing the names of hotel guests, along with a stack of newspapers. Deborah shows up and says, "This place is safe." Jenny replies that maybe their grandmother is behind all of this. Everyone gathers, and while no one is watching, Deborah secretly takes one of the keys. Jenny repeats that perhaps Grandma is responsible for everything, which enrages Deborah. She slaps Jenny and yells, My parents could never do something like this. Steve steps in, urging everyone to stay calm. That's the only way we're going to make it out, he says. Jenny then explains that the car can't be used because the oil tanks are destroyed. Thinking quickly, Jenny slips out the back door and runs toward the hotel. There, she continues looking through the diary. Meanwhile, the others are searching for her. Inside the hotel, the monkey appears again, terrifying Jenny. She then sees Charlie's ghost, who silently points toward a door. Jenny rushes to it and finds a key labeled for room number 4. As the monkey enters the room, Jenny hides behind the sofa. When the monkey is distracted, she sneaks out and locks the door behind her, heading for room 4. But the monkey finds her again. In the room, she hears a monkey toy begin to ring. It too has Charlie's name written on it. Jenny quickly hides under the bed. Just as the monkey is about to attack her, Steve and Marshall arrive and hide inside a money closet. They open the closet hoping to trap the monkey, but instead find only a monkey costume and a knife. They take the items and begin heading home. Deborah is there and she asks Jenny what's going on. The diary contains information about all the missing people. Deborah notices the knife in Steve's hand and says, "That belongs to Dad. How did you get it?" Everyone is stunned. Deborah then shows them a basement key and claims it's safe down there. Tenny asks how she got it. Deborah says, "I found it in a drawer." Everyone follows her to the basement, and once they're inside, she locks the door. Inside, they find an array of weapons. When asked about it, Deborah explains, "My dad was a hunter. That's why we have so many tools." But no one fully believes her. Then Deborah picks up a monkey and begins sewing human skin onto its face. She confesses that she never had any friends growing up. "Linda was always with Mom and never liked me," she says. "So whenever guests came to the hotel, I'd try to become their friend." But they never stayed forever. That's when Dad would kill their parents, and I'd take the children's skin and sew it onto monkey faces. She reveals Charlie was her first friend and meant a lot to her. Everyone is left in shock. Marshall attempts to flee, but Deborah attacks him. Steve intervenes and ends up getting stabbed instead. Deborah repeatedly stabs Steve, leaving Jenny and Marshall horrified. As Marshall tries to escape, Deborah throws a knife that strikes his leg. Jenny rushes toward them, but Deborah strikes her with a hammer, knocking her out. The next scene shows Jenny tied to a chair. Marshall slowly approaches a door and screams for help. Deborah shouts at him, saying, "You're giving me a headache. No one is coming to save you." Jenny regains consciousness and believes Deborah brought her there to kill her. Deborah insists, "I loved you, but now that you've figured things out, I have to kill you." Jenny manages to free her hands and attacks Deborah, then escapes to rescue Marshall. Deborah catches her, but Marshall intervenes and fights her off. Deborah tries to kill him too, but he tells Jenny not to worry. Jenny grabs some gasoline and sets the monkey toys on fire. Deborah breaks down crying. They were her only friends. Jenny throws Charlie's flowers into the fire. In despair, Deborah jumps into the flames. As she burns, she sees the spirits of all the children she had harmed. The entire house catches fire in moments. Jenny and Marshall escape and find Joey's car parked outside. They get in and drive away. As they leave, the monkey hotel is seen engulfed in flames. But even as it burns, the faint sound of Charlie's toy can still be heard. And with that, the movie ends.